This tutorial covers the installation of new batteries to your Razor E300 scooter. The controller and electronics and motor I have here are from a version 23 Razor E300. The first thing that most people do, or mostly what they do, is want to replace their batteries. And this can be looking a little bit confusing when it's all in the scooter. But when it's on the bench, we can sort of illustrate it or demonstrate it much clearer. The first thing you'll want to do is locate two connectors like this one that have the thickest wires of all. They have two pairs of wires and they both have the same connectors, although on the other one I have cut the connector off. This one here is for the motor and goes to the motor. Motor wire going up. It's going underneath the throttle cable there, up there. Now the first thing that happens with the wiring of the batteries one battery's negative terminal goes directly to the positive terminal of the other battery. Now in the scooter this will go through the thermal cutout switch. Now it doesn't matter if you get the connectors on the back of the thermal cutout switch mixed up, because it doesn't really matter. All it is just goes through there, goes through the cutout switch and comes out there. The next connection is one negative terminal on one battery to the negative battery connector on your controller, and the positive terminal of the other battery to the positive red wire on the controller. Now that's basically the batteries wired up. The other wires I will cover quickly. You have two other sets of wires here, red wires, which are the next thickest wires that you will come across on the controller. They go to your on-off button. Now in the scooter this just goes to the on-off switch. And the switch itself just breaks a series connection, and here out of the scooter we don't, for demonstration purposes, we don't really need the switch. We can just put one wire and connect it directly to the other wire. As you'll see, we'll get a small spark there. Don't panic, that's not a short circuit. A short circuit will be a much larger spark than that, and you'll probably get smoke as well. Now if I turn the throttle, we can hear our motor spin, or see it spin. A bit hard to see in the video because I've taken the sprocket off. Now another issue that I might want to cover here is what happens when you hit the brakes. Believe it or not, when you hit the brakes, the power to the motor is cut off. This is a bit of a safety feature, so you can't be accelerating and braking at the same time. So what happens if the motor is running, so we're at full throttle, when you hit your brakes, this closes the switch, which closes this circuit and causes the motor to stop running. As soon as that is released, and there's a break between, it should start going again. There we go. Just a bit of a bad connection there somewhere. Now the other thing that we have here is the throttle connector, which is these four wires here. Now they also go to a different connector, and I have pinched the original connector off them for this other project as well. Now, if you get mixed up with these wires and you've done something like I've done here, but you shouldn't, because most of the connectors will only fit, they're all designed to only fit the correct connector. But if you do happen to do something like I've done here, it doesn't really matter if you get these wires mixed up. The worst that can happen is you'll hear a clicking from inside the controller or it just won't run. I have yet to do any serious damage to my controller by putting one of these wires slightly wrong. And I have done it a few times myself in my tinkerings. The next and last final wire I'm going to cover is this wire here, which is the charger port wire. This goes to the back of the charger port, and there is 3 connectors on the back of the charger. As you can see down here, well, it's a bit dark, but basically that's where it goes in there, and there's actually another controller on there. And then from there, there's actually from the on-off switch, there's a third terminal which just goes to the negative of the charger port. It's just an earth, I think. I'm not quite sure, but it's an earth just for the charger. And that's pretty well it. In my next tutorial, I'll be covering the prospect of putting more advanced battery technology into your Razor scooter using lithium batteries. These batteries here are lithium-ion batteries which have been salvaged from old laptops, believe it or not. This has some promising capabilities, but it's still in the testing stage. You must use a battery management system for this kind of battery arrangement. Anyway, that will be covered in more detail in my next tutorial, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.